Yogia. We have Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandra Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila chapter 23, and today we're beginning from text number 3. And I'm just going to read the translations because our time is a little bit limited. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will continue. Now here, O Sanatan, about the result of devotional service, which is love of Godhead, life's ultimate goal. One who hears this description will be enlightened in the transcendental mellows of devotional service. Krishna rati garha haile prema abhidham Krishna bhakti rashere sthai bhavanam. When affection for Krishna becomes deeper, one attains love of Godhead in devotional service. Such a position is called sthai bhava, permanent enjoyment of the mellows of devotional service to Krishna. Shuddha sattva visheshatma prema suryam shusamya bha rushibhis chitta masranya kridasau bhava uchyate. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first Eastern Ocean, third wave, and text number 1. When devotional service is executed on the transcendental platform of pure goodness, it is like a sun ray of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and one is then situated in bhava, emotion. This is Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport by His Divine Grace. He just notes here that this verse is found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.1. Edwe bhaver sarup tatashta lakhan premera lakhane ebe shuna shonatan. This bhava or emotion has two different symptoms, constitutional and marginal. Now here, my dear Sanatan, listen to the symptoms of love. There's a purport here. Srila Prabhupada writes, the word Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma means situated on the transcendental platform of pure goodness. In this way, the soul is purified of all material contamination. And this position is called Swarupa Lakshana, the constitutional symptom of bhava, emotion. By various tastes, one's heart is softened, and there's an awakening of one's loving propensity to render spontaneous service to the Lord. This is called tatastha lakshana, the marginal symptom of bhava. So we're talking about bhava bhakti. We know that in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami has described 3 different kinds of bhakti. The first one is sadhana bhakti, the second one is bhava bhakti, and the third one is prema bhakti. So we are just now beginning to hear something of bhava bhakti. This is the beginning of chapter 23, in which these things are all being explained to Sanatana Goswami by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So bhava is considered to be like a Krsna, or a ray of sunshine. Here it's used suryangshu. It's like a partial ray of sunbeam, you can say. And we get the idea of prema, but it's not full-fledged prema. Full-fledged prema is full sun. And so this is bhava, the dawning or the beginning of prema. We get a glimpse of prema. We begin to feel something in devotional service, something real. And there are 2 aspects that are described here. 2 symptoms. One of them is constitutional sarup. The other one is marginal, tatastha. The sarup lakshana is, as Prabhupada says, well, let's go on and hear more. The next shloka defines in more detail. Samyam masranita swanto mamatvati shayankitaha bhava sa eva sandratma budhaihi premana gadyate. That means when that bhava softens the heart completely, becomes endowed with a great feeling of possessiveness in relationship to the Lord, and becomes very much condensed and intensified, it is called Prema, love of Godhead, by learned scholars. Purport: this verse is also found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4.1, same position, one chapter ahead. So he's just skipping ahead to give us the gist of this instruction. Samyak masranata swanta. It becomes completely soft, one's inner feelings. Mamatva, and it has this mamatva and mamata, they're the same thing. So a sense of ownership, Krishna's mine. Atishaya ankitaha, and is marked with abundance, it is profuse. This bhava, so sandratma, the nature is very condensed. Sandra, sandranandatma. Yes, yes. So sometimes we use different words in Sanskrit. We use the word sandra, we use the word ghanibhuta. Ghanibhuta, like a cloud condenses. When the rain is so dense in the cloud, it has to fall. So similarly, when the love of God is so condensed, then it also has to fall out from us. Not possible to stop. And it comes in the form of mercy. Devotee is feeling something so strong, he cannot keep it inside, and he has to give it to others. This is the teaching. So, Prema negadyate. So, Ghanibhuta bhava is called Prema. This is the idea here. All right. Now we'll go on to the next verse. Ananya mamata Vishno mamata prema sangata bhaktir ityuchyate bhishma prahladodhava naradaihi. So, great authorities. I'll just read Prabhupada's translation. When one develops an unflinching sense of ownership or possessiveness in relation to Lord Vishnu, of course, for us, it's usually Lord Krishna. Or in other words, when one thinks Vishnu and no one else to be the only object of love, such an awakening is called bhakti, devotion. By whom? By exalted persons like Bhishma, Prahlada, Uddhava, and Narada. Purport: this verse, quoted from Narad Pancharatra, is found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4.2. So it's continuing with the definition of prema that is given there. All right. What should we say about this? Well, different flavors or different bhavas within love, within prema bhakti. They have varying degrees of this mamata, in which one thinks Krishna is mine. Probably the strongest, well, it's hard to say that, but certainly a very strong one. Strong enough that Rupa Goswami points it out for us in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The sense of mamata that Krishna is mine is very strong in Vatsalya Bhava. But we can assume that Srimati Radharani's possessiveness over Krishna is even stronger. So, all right, so this is called bhakti. Now it's also interesting, we're talking about bhava, we're talking about prema, and then in the end, it all culminates in what? Bhakti, which tells us that this bhakti is not such a cheap thing. Anybody knows what bhakti means. You ask anyone on the street, he'll tell you bhakti. Oh, yeah, devotion. But we really don't understand that much about it, because when we're talking about highly concentrated bhava in the form of prema, and when it's so intense that one cannot even conceive of anything else is his own, that is bhakti. So that's kind of what Krishna has in mind in chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita when he says, Mad bhaktim labhate param, after giving some of these symptoms of liberation. I mean, we're way beyond liberation by this point. We're not even really concerned about liberation from the influence of Maya. These are topics that are very atirahasyam, as the word was used, even in the spiritual world, even in Vaikuntha. Not everyone understands the intensity of love experienced by the Vrajavasis, headed by Radharani and her girlfriends, and followed by the parents and the friends and other servants in Goloka. Okay, so this is the opinion of Bhishma, Prahlad, and other experts, all Mahajanas now, except for Uddhava. And this verse is from Narad Pancharatra. The 9th verse, Kon bhagye kon jivera shraddha yadi hae, tabe she jiva sadhu sangha je karaye. If by good fortune a living entity develops faith in Krishna, he begins to associate with devotees. Not a rare opportunity. I mean, not a common opportunity. It's a rare opportunity. It's a great fortune. We should recognize that, appreciate it, and not take it for granted, not ignore it. Sadhu sangha haite hai, shravana kirtana, sadhana bhakti hai, sarvanartha nivartan. That means when one is encouraged in devotional service by the association of devotees, one becomes free from all unwanted contamination by following the regulative principles and chanting and hearing. Well, how much import can you pack into a couplet? 2 lines only, but this is how Prabhupada has translated it. First of all, we can appreciate in this translation why Srila Prabhupada said that he didn't write his books, that Krishna was dictating every word. We can also appreciate why Srila Prabhupada said that every word was chosen very carefully. Let's take a look at this. When one is encouraged by devotional service, that's the first thing that we should note. One is encouraged in devotional service by what? By sadhu sangha. Yes. Of course, if we are too much neophyte, as we were discussing a minute ago, if we're too sinful, then sometimes we become discouraged by association of devotees also, because it's testing. There's no doubt it's not so easy all the time. But first of all, one is encouraged to perform devotional service by the association of devotees. And when one does that, then what happens? He becomes free from all unwanted contamination. This is another thing, my friends. Contamination is unwanted. Don't smother yourself or drown yourself with unnecessary things. This is another word used here in this context. Unwanted, he says. That's called anartha, things that don't really serve your purpose, things you don't really need, things that are unwanted, unnecessary. Those things are called anarthas. So when one becomes free from all unwanted contamination, then one is encouraged by the association of devotees. And this happens by following the regulative principles, particularly by hearing and chanting. Shravanam Kirtanam. These are the 2 things that are mentioned here specifically. But all the principles one has to follow. Very careful, especially avoid sinful life. That's already been mentioned. So, nice verse. And then in the next one, he says, Anartha navritti haile bhakti nishtahai. Nishtahai te shravanarye ruchi upajai. When one is freed from all unwanted contamination, he advances with firm faith. When firm faith in devotional service awakens, a taste for hearing and chanting also awakens. So we have initial faith. We invest that initial faith in sadhu sangha, The Sadhu Sangha encourage us to perform bhajana kriya. By the bhajana kriya, all of our anarthas are cleansed out. And when our anarthas are lost or cleansed out, then we can advance with even more faith. The faith is strengthened by that experience. And when that happens, we actually gain a taste, a real taste for hearing and chanting. We have a shadow taste in the beginning, or we have a mental taste. But the real taste is deep within the heart. That comes when the anarthas are gone. Since we're talking about bhava bhakti and prema bhakti, we should understand these stages are preliminary. Ado shraddha, first faith, then association, then following the process, then anartha nivritti, becoming fixed in the process, thereby, that means following these principles very strictly, that's nishtha bhakti. And then what happens after nishtha? Ruchi. Then we get a firm taste. Ruchi upajai. All right, next text. We have to keep track of time. What is the local time? A few minutes left. Shall I ask for questions? Or is it too spellbinding? Okay. Ruchi hoite bhaktya sakti prachur. Asakti hoite chitte janme Krishna prityankur. Beautiful. So here he says, after taste is awakened, a deep attachment arises. That's called asakti. And from that attachment, the seed of love for Krishna grows in the heart. That seed would be what? After asakti comes bhava, which we've talked about. Priti ankur, just a little sprout coming up, bhakti or bhava. She bhava gartha haile dhare prema nam, she prema prayojana sarvananda tham. And when that ecstatic emotional stage intensifies, it is called love of Godhead. Such love is life's ultimate goal and the reservoir of all pleasure. Sarva Ananda Dham. So beautiful. You have to appreciate Krishna Das Kaviraj. He was able to write books like Govinda Lilamritam, and he was a consummate Sanskrit poet. And it shows in the way that he chooses his words, even in Bengali language, simple language. But Sarvananda Dham is very expressive. The reservoir of all pleasure, the abode of all pleasure. All right. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes this growth of love of God as a gradual process. Yes. A person becomes interested in devotional service by some good fortune. Eventually, he becomes interested in pure devotional service without material contamination. Eventually. How is that eventually? By investing his faith in sadhu sangha. Almost invariably, this is the pattern. Okay, that's how he becomes really interested. Well, maybe I should be a pure devotee instead of just a devotee. Maybe, in other words, maybe I should be a real devotee, not just an official or, professional devotee. At that point, a person wants to associate with devotees, and particularly he wants to associate with what kind of devotees? Pure devotees, those who are more advanced. As a result of this association, he becomes more and more interested in discharging devotional service and hearing and chanting. The more one is interested in hearing and chanting, the more he's purified of material contamination. Liberation from material contamination is called anartha nivritti. We discussed this, indicating a diminishing of all unwanted things. This is the test of development in devotional service. This is the test of development in devotional service. Are your anarthas actually disappearing? If not, reconsider your position. How strictly are you following? How closely are you associating? Ityadi. So this is the test. If one actually develops the devotional attitude, he must be freed from the material contamination of illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. How are these things dispelled? By development of what? A devotional attitude. Devotional attitude. These are the preliminary symptoms. When one is freed from all material contamination, his firm faith in devotional service awakens. Firm faith, nishtha. When firm faith develops, a taste arises, ruchi, and by that taste, one becomes attached to devotional service. Asakti. Just like Krishna says, madgata prana. Machitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha. Firm taste. When this attachment intensifies, the seed of love of Krishna fructifies. This position is called priti or rati, affection, or bhava, emotion. When rati intensifies, it is called love of Godhead. This love of Godhead is actually life's highest perfection and the reservoir of all pleasure. Thus, devotional life is divided into two stages, sadhana bhakti and bhava bhakti. Sadhana bhakti refers to the development of devotional service through the regulative principles. Devotional service is faith. Above that, there is association with devotees. And after that, there is initiation by a bona fide spiritual master. After initiation, when one follows the regulative principles of devotional service, one becomes freed from all unwanted things. In this way, one becomes firmly fixed and gradually develops a taste for devotional service. The more the taste grows, the more one desires to render service to the Lord. In this way, one becomes attached to a particular mellow in the Lord's service, Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, or Madhura. As a result of such attachment, bhava develops. He is purified goodness. By such purified goodness, one's heart melts in devotional service. Bhava bhakti is the first seed of love of Godhead. This emotional stage is there before one attains pure love. When that emotional stage intensifies, it is called Prema bhakti, or transcendental love of Godhead. This gradual process is also described in the following two verses, which are found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4.15 and 16, and you all know these verses we've been paraphrasing. Adau Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Ityadi. So maybe this is where we should stop for the night. Yeah. All right, but I should ask for questions just in case anyone won't be able to sleep. Any online questions?
Yes. So before the question, I'll just make a few announcements. We can jump. Devotee can think about the question. They can put it in the chat, or they can ask and raise their hand. Thank you so much. So let's make a few announcements quicker. So one thing is this particular Saturday is New York Rath Yatra. The Rath Yatra starts from 10 a.m. So please do not 11 a.m. Sharp. So as there's a World Cup, try to make it before time. I think Rath Yatra will try to start on time. And also, as every Wednesday, we have one speaker today. His Grace Mukunda Prabhu is speaking with us. And this coming Sunday, we have Simeswar Prabhu. He'll be speaking on Nectar of Instruction, verse 10. So please do attend in our center. And we have weekly Bhakti Vrikshes, different locations. If devotees are interested to join, this is in person, very close program that you can really have good association with devotees. You can join. And also we have Bhagavad Gita reading from Monday to Friday from 12 p.m. to 12:15 p.m. EST with the verse and translation. There's also a wonderful opportunity to read Bhagavad Gita. So please join that. And also we have every morning japa from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. You can join with in the same Zoom. So Bhagavad Gita reading and the morning program is the same Zoom. So you can join that. And also we have our Vaishnava calendar. You can see all our fasting break and everything in our calendar. So tomorrow actually is Parama Ekadashi. June 11th, and the fast breaking time is on Friday is 5:24 a.m. to 10:08 a.m. So that's a Paramikasi tomorrow. So thank you very much. So we have one devotee raising the questions. Kishori Priya Mataji, kindly go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So basically, here in the last purport that you read, text 13, it seems to indicate that, just by following the four regulative principles, we can achieve anartha nivriti. But that's not our experience. We follow the four regulative principles for a very long time, but still the anarthas take a long time to go. So how do we understand this correctly?
We understand that by due to the fact that there are many people who follow the four principles, but they don't develop love of Godhead. You have to simultaneously engage in devotional service positively. It's not enough just to avoid sinful activity. We have to actually engage under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master in these primary activities of hearing and chanting and remembering Krishna and so on. That's what purifies us. Did I understand your question, or did I misunderstand your question?
Yes. Because
simple
here
question,
it seems,
simple answer.
It seems very, very, very simple, but it isn't, and that was.
Yeah, that is the point. It is very, very simple, but very simple does not necessarily mean very easy. If you try to actually apply the principles that Krishna is outlining for us in Bhagavad Gita, you see very quickly it's hard because they're so conditioned. Who knows how many births we're conditioned. Yeah. So anyway, that's another reason that Srila Prabhupada has written here that in the association of devotees, we're encouraged in devotional service because it is difficult and we need that encouragement. We have Leela Shakti Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Prabhuji, I had a question about the sadhana bhakti and the raganuga bhakti. Is the bhav bhakti mentioned is the same as raganuga bhakti here?
Well, you have to understand that sadhana bhakti and raganuga bhakti, they're kind of the same thing. They're just different kinds of sadhana. There's Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and there's raganuga sadhana bhakti, but they're both sadhana bhakti. It means devotional service in practice. Bhava bhakti is the turning point, or the I want to say the pivot, or the pivotal point after which the devotion is less inspired by force or discipline, if you will, and more inspired by spontaneous affection within the heart. That's the point. It's a ray of prema in the sense that there is some spontaneous love, but it's not yet mature. It's nascent. So bhava bhakti is a nascent stage. Now, having said that, that bhava bhakti develops into prema bhakti, but the sadhana still continues. You can, ideally you should still continue both Vaidhi sadhana and raganuga sadhana, even in the stages of bhava and prema bhakti. Just if only to set the example for others.
Oh, I see. So it's the bhava bhakti is the one in the 9 processes, right? The after the ruchi, asakti, and
one of the 9, yeah.
One of the 9, and then ultimately culminating into the prema. Okay.
Yes. You can see it that way also.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Anything else?
So, Prabhu, you talked about the aspect of having like right devotional attitude. So, how can we really shake ourselves that I'm trying to practice my devotional service, but is it right devotional attitude? That's what I'm trying to practice or something. How can I shake it? Verify, yes.
Well, Prabhupada says here what the test is. If your anarthas are decreasing and your spontaneous attraction is increasing, that means you're probably doing something right. On the other hand, if you're not really experiencing anything even after so many years, in terms of any development of any kind of feeling, then that's a problem. And you'll have to check and see, what am I doing wrong? Because the process is perfect. It always works invariably, 100% of the time. And Krishna is also always responsive, 100% of the time. So we just have to see what is the quality of our engagement in devotional service. And then it should be that devotional attitude naturally develops. Of course, as we've heard so many times, it's a real plus. It's a great advantage if you have a pious disposition to begin with, because that is the most receptive ground in which the seed of bhakti can be planted by the bona fide guru, or watered, etc., by the bona fide guru, by his instructions. Yeah, so be pious. Anything else?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Anybody else have any question?
Any questions? Yeah.
Okay, so then.
Very clear. Thank you again, Prabhu.
Thank you all very much.
A wonderful association, and hopefully you can visit us, our center, sometime in person. We would like to listen to your wonderful kirtan and wonderful class, and much more discuss with our whole congregation. So anytime, whenever you are around, kindly let us know to serve you in person.
I've been before. I'll be happy to return.
Thank you so much.
Do you have a list of all the verses you read? Because we didn't see any slides.
Well, I'm just reading the book in sequence. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 23, and today we got up to text 12 or so, maybe 15, something like that.
Oh, okay, got it.
1 through 15.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Everyone can unmute and thank Prabhuji. With Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Chakalpatarubhyascha, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.